Have you ever used an airplane toilet and wondered, where does it all actually go? You press that shiny silver button, hear a thunderous whoosh, and suddenly, it's gone. But here's the puzzle. How does a toilet even work at 35,000 feet, where water is limited and gravity isn't on your side? On the ground, toilets rely on gallons of water, but in the sky, that would make planes too heavy. Engineers needed something lightweight, sanitary, and foolproof. And what they designed is pure genius. Airplane toilets save thousands of gallons of water, stay surprisingly odor-free, and prevent dangerous leaks. Welcome back to Spinifacts. Today we're uncovering the surprisingly clever engineering behind airplane toilets. Spoiler alert, it's cleaner and smarter than you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our mind-blowing videos. The old days when planes had no toilets. Believe it or not, early airplanes didn't even have toilets. In the 1920s and 1930s, short flights were the norm, and if nature called, well, passengers were given portable solutions like small bottles or cans. Not exactly glamorous. By the 1940s, larger aircraft started including basic lavatories. But here's the wild part. Those early toilets simply dumped waste straight out of the plane mid-flight. Imagine flying over farmland and suddenly getting rained on with blue ice. Yes, that's where the infamous term blue ice incidents comes from. Airlines eventually realized this wasn't exactly hygienic or legal, so engineers had to invent a better solution. Why airplane toilets can't work like home toilets. At home, flushing a toilet is simple. You use water and gravity. The tank empties, water pushes waste down through pipes, and gravity carries it to the sewer. But in an airplane, that's impossible. Why? Water is heavy. Carrying hundreds of gallons of water for flushing would add massive weight to the aircraft, burning more fuel. Gravity doesn't help. At 35,000 feet, you can't rely on the same plumbing principles as on the ground. Waste needs a controlled system. Hygiene is critical. With hundreds of people sharing a few lavatories, the system has to be safe, sanitary, and odor-free. So engineers had to design a toilet that works without lots of water or reliance on gravity. The genius of the vacuum flush. Here's where airplane toilets get really clever. In the late 1970s, a man named James Kemper patented the vacuum toilet system, and it completely changed air travel. When you hit that flush button, you hear the loud whoosh. That's not water rushing, it's air pressure at work. Here's what happens. A small amount of blue liquid, cleaner, rinses the bowl. Powerful suction pulls everything into a sealed waste tank. The vacuum system ensures no smells escape back into the cabin. This design uses less than half a liter of liquid per flush, compared to the 6 to 13 liters your home toilet uses. It's efficient, lightweight, and works in zero-gravity conditions too, which is why spacecraft use a similar system. What's in the blue liquid? You've probably noticed that airplane toilet water is bright blue. That's not just for looks. It's a special disinfectant called Anatech or a similar solution. It does 3 jobs. Breaks down waste to make storage easier, neutralizes odor so the cabin doesn't smell, provides a little lubrication for the system. But unlike a chemical toilet you might find at a concert or camping, the real work is done by the vacuum system, not the liquid. Where does the waste go? Okay, here's the part everyone wants to know. Where does all the waste actually end up? Contrary to urban legends, it's not released mid-air. Airplanes store waste in sealed tanks located in the rear cargo hold. These tanks are lined, leak-proof, and can hold several hundred liters of material. Once the plane lands, special ground crews, sometimes called lavatory service teams, roll up with a truck and vacuum everything out. They transport it to proper sewage facilities where it's treated just like normal waste. So next time you flush mid-flight, don't worry, nothing is falling on people below. Why the flush is so loud? That deafening roar when you flush isn't your imagination. It's the sound of the vacuum system at work, creating powerful suction in a pressurized environment. In fact, the pressure difference between the cabin and the waste tank can create a suction force strong enough to pull everything down instantly. That's why you should never flush while still seated. It's not dangerous, but it's not pleasant either. Fun fact, engineers could design quieter systems. but passengers often prefer the loud whoosh. It reassures them that everything has truly disappeared. Can the tank ever leak mid-flight? You've probably heard those stories about frozen blue ice falling from the sky. Technically, it has happened, but it's extremely rare. Leaks in the system can let small amounts of waste freeze on the outside of the plane at high altitudes. As the plane descends, chunks of this frozen waste can break off. These cases are investigated seriously, but with modern technology, they're now almost non-existent. So while it makes for a funny headline, the chances of being hit by blue ice are practically zero. How toilets stay odor-free at 35,000 feet. Here's another clever part. Airplane toilets are designed with non-stick coatings and a vacuum seal. That means nothing lingers in the bowl, and smells are sucked away instantly. The waste tank itself is heavily insulated and sealed from the cabin. Airflow systems also make sure no odors drift back into the passenger area. In fact, the air in the lavatory is filtered and circulated separately from the rest of the cabin. So that unpleasant smell after someone goes in, that's temporary, not systemic. What about space toilets? Here's a fascinating twist. The same vacuum principle is used on the International Space Station. Astronauts can't rely on gravity, so they use airflow and suction to direct waste into storage containers. The key difference? In space, liquids and solids are separated for recycling. Yes, you heard that right. Astronauts often end up drinking purified water that once came from, well, let's just say, used sources. So the next time you use an airplane toilet, remember, you're sitting on technology designed not just for planes, but also for space exploration. Fun facts about airplane toilets. Let's wrap up with some quirky extras you probably didn't know. First commercial vacuum toilet, introduced by Boeing in 1982. Average flush power. The system creates suction strong enough to pull waste at 500 miles per hour. Water savings. Over the lifetime of a plane, vacuum toilets save tens of thousands of liters of water. Design materials. The toilet bowls are made from lightweight but durable composites, often coated with Teflon to reduce sticking. Passenger myth. No, you can't get sucked in if you flush while seated. Engineers made sure that's impossible. Bonus tip. Stay healthy in airplane bathrooms. Here's a travel hack you'll thank me for. Airplane lavatories are some of the most used, least cleaned areas on the plane. Always use a tissue to touch the flush button and latch, and wash your hands thoroughly. Hand sanitizer afterward is a must. Also, avoid going barefoot in the lavatory. Yes, people do it. And yes, those floors aren't always just water. So how do airplane toilets work? Not with gallons of water or gravity, but with a brilliant vacuum system that's lightweight, hygienic, and efficient. It's a perfect example of how engineers solve unique challenges in the most creative ways. The next time you hear that thunderous whoosh at 35,000 feet, you'll know the hidden science behind it and maybe even appreciate it a little more. Now I want to hear from you. What's the weirdest or funniest experience you've had in an airplane bathroom? Share your story in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Spin of Facts, and ring the bell so you never miss more fascinating deep dives into the hidden science of everyday life.